Hello, friend. Thanks for pressing play on this episode. I am going to share with you how I'm applying what I've learned from binge watching Netflix to my podcast. Let's rock and roll. I'm Jen Eads. I'm head writing in charge at the Brassy Broadcast Company. Hey, did you catch that? I have decided to skip the intro and dive right into the good stuff because here at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, we practice what we preach. I want to share with you what I've learned from my own personal Netflix binging habits and how I'm applying that to my podcast. Let's start with how the skip intro button has changed my life. And I'm guessing that you were digging it too on your last Netflix weekend bender. Talk about improving your listener experience. Holy cow, that has made me rethink everything about my podcast intro because I went back, I looked at my iTunes Connect stats to see if people were actually listening to the intro. And guess what? Shock of all shocks, they're fast forwarding and skipping it. So why put it in there? It's not that important. They want to get to the good stuff. So I'm going to save them the hassle. No more fast forwarding because, they might be driving or they might have both hands stuck in a sink full of dirty dishes. So I'm going to do my listener a solid, and I am just going to get right into the content. And I can tell you this, if the content is strong and solid, they'll stick around. So you can, tell them how to reach you and subscribe and, do all those things, your calls to action. You can do those at the end. Give them a reason to stick around. Now let's talk about binge listening, because when you produce killer episodes, people will binge listen to them. I do that with podcasts, and I do that with shows like Stranger Things and Frankie and Grace and, a lot of those great television series that they now have available on Netflix. The next full season of the Brassy Broadcast will all be released at the same time because I am a curious girl full of questions, and I want to create a theme for this next series, and I want to see how releasing all 6 episodes at the same time is going to impact my download numbers. How long will that initial spike be sustainable? How can I then take that content and promote it across other channels and then, drive people back to subscribe to the podcast or to hire me for some of my podcasting services? It's going to be a fun experiment. I hope you stick around for that one. In the meantime, there will be little pop-up bonus episodes when I have something that I just can't wait to share with you, like how I'm applying what I've learned from Netflix to my own podcast. I've also learned from my own personal Netflix viewing experience that Rabid fans will pay for additional content. A while back, we got turned on to the Showtime show Shameless because their episodes were on Netflix. And it was fantastic. And we binge watched all of them because it was such a great show. And then we were very sad when we made it through all of the current season's episodes. So guess what happened as soon as Showtime announced that, hey, the new season of Shameless is starting up? We were not Showtime subscribers, but I can tell you that we could not wait to find out what Fiona and the rest of the Gallagher family had going on in the next season of Shameless. So we became Showtime subscribers, and now we gladly pay that monthly fee, at least while Shameless is on, so that we can stay up to date and current with the latest episode of the show. So if you have those rabid fans of your show, figure out what is that additional content that they might be willing to pay for. Is it early access to episodes? Is it an ebook? Is it bonus material? Is it bloopers? Is it, outtakes? What is it? Figure out what that is, what your audience wants, what they're willing to pay for, and how you can monetize that. It's a win-win for you and your audience. There you have it, friends. Those are the 3 things that I have learned from binge watching Netflix and figuring out how I'm going to apply these to my own podcast. So number 1, we are starting with the skip intro. Number 2, I am releasing a full series of 6 episodes later this quarter when I release the next season of the Brassy Broadcast. And number 3, Rabid fans will pay for additional content, so make it available to them. I haven't figured out that third piece yet. What am I going to do to help monetize the show? I don't know. I guess that's kind of the fun. That's where the creativity kicks in. Thanks for listening. I'm Jen Eads, the head broad in charge at the Brassy Broadcasting Company. I help coaches, consultants, and business owners reach new audience with my signature Launch to Legendary podcast mentorship program. You don't know what you don't know about podcasting. So with this Launch to Legendary program, what I'm going to do is teach you how to use simple tools based on your level of tech savviness. Let's figure out what works for you. And then we're going to create a repeatable process so you know what to do every time with every episode. So then you create a sustainable podcast. And then the third piece of this is the mentorship piece. There's no one and done. Hey, you're launched. Peace out. See ya. Thanks for the check. I'm out of here. No, this mentorship piece is the most critical piece because it's going to give you 3 months of continuous feedback on your podcast where you can improve it. We can look at your workflow and figure out what you can be doing better to make it a more enjoyable process for you and to make it a better podcast for your listener. If this sounds like it might be your jam, you can visit brassybroad.com. And if you dig the podcast, please don't be stingy. Spread the podcast love. Share it with somebody that you think could benefit from it. Okay, this episode's over. Now get out in the world and do some good.